As an investor, you want to know what exactly you can acquire. An AI data center, for example, is kind of a convertible sports car, and cloud data center is, let's say, a van.
Chris, thank you very much for being here. You just landed from Munich. We are here in London at the data center event. Thank you very much. Let's start by asking you to introduce to our audience about data center partners. What do you guys do and how is your involvement in this industry?
Yeah. Thank you, Gustavo, for having me here today. My name is Chris. I'm founder and CEO of Data Center Partners. We are a developer and operator for data centers. So we plan, build, and operate data centers across Europe, mainly co-location and hyperscale data centers. And we basically start with a project at a very, very early stage, always off market. And then we bring the project to life until the operation starts. That's basically what we do.
And where do you see traction nowadays? Primary markets or even secondary markets?
Yeah, so I think it changed a lot over the last years. So especially when we look at Europe, we always had like the large flap markets, so Frankfurt, London, Amsterdam, and Paris. And the fifth location with Dublin came to life, which is now flat D. Basically, this was always kind of the status quo, but it changed over the last year significantly because more and more secondary locations came into like came on the agenda of Europe. So now we are talking about, for example, Berlin, we are talking about Milano, we are talking about Madrid, we are talking about Barcelona, Warsaw. So all these locations are now coming up. And one of the reasons for that is that we have huge power constraints in these A cities across Europe, and more players are looking to extend their network, and therefore they are trying to go into other markets. And these new markets, of course, bring a lot of opportunity with you, and therefore it's super exciting for us.
And when you look at the challenge that you have ahead, it's a very hot market at the moment, but what's your key challenge? To raise funds, to deploy the capital, to develop the sites? What's the main challenge for you right now in your position?
Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned it, capital. Capital is for us, I think we are in a quite positive situation. And in data centers, the data center market, I always say we are a little bit of infrastructure and a little bit of real estate. A lot of funds had significant issues over the last years in order to raise capital or to deploy capital in various asset classes. In data centers, in our asset class, it's quite comfortable, let's put it like this. For us, it's very accessible to get capital from an equity side, also from a debt side. So I wouldn't say this is the biggest challenge, not at all. I think our biggest challenge is by far power constraints. So really to find properties with power in good locations. And that's an issue all over Europe. And the second aspect is also the manpower. So we have a lack of manpower across Europe when it comes to smart, motivated young people. Because of the older generations, it becomes more and more an issue. The entire data center industry hasn't found a solution for that yet.
I can imagine. Now, if there are so many constraints here in Europe, I know you guys are already doing something in Abu Dhabi. Do you see yourself doing more stuff abroad, out of Europe?
Basically, Europe is our home, and we are most active in the DACH region, Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. But we are, of course, looking outside of this region, and I think we are good at what we do, and we have more than enough to do in Europe. But of course, there are very exciting opportunities, especially when it comes to the Emirates, when it comes to Abu Dhabi. So we will definitely see more traction on the international level, but we have enough homework to do at home.
Some investors always ask the same question probably around here, the GRI, maybe for you as well. When it comes to the difference, when it comes to deploying capital or investing in a data center that is built for AI or the data center for cloud, for example, what's the key difference? And is there any difference in terms of risks as well?
Yeah, so it's a tricky situation for investors because, let's say, the AI data center asset class is a very new asset class in the market. And we need to teach investors what AI data centers look like and what risks come with AI data centers, because you cannot, you cannot just compare those two. It's a big difference. I make a simple example. An AI data center, for example, is kind of a convertible sports car, and cloud data center is, let's say, a van, to give you an idea. And as an investor, you want to know what exactly you can acquire. It's a big difference between the two of them. So for AI data centers, for example, you have a longer period of lease terms, for example, but you also have a much higher capex, which you have to spend. So it's a more operational risk which you have in AI data centers, and it's not a proven business model yet from a data center perspective. I mean, you have AI data centers in the industry for 1, maybe 2 years. In comparison to cloud data centers, you have them in Europe for 10, 12 years. So there is a track record. There is an existing business model, and our investors are always keen to invest in something they know, and they know that it works, and they know that there are real cash flows behind the business model. And therefore, I think it's a huge difference between the two asset classes. And invest, not just because it says AI doesn't mean it's a good investment. There's much more to think of and to think through if the fund is really wants to invest in AI data centers.
Here's a final question, not about real estate, not about specifically about data center, but we hear a lot on the newspapers, on the TV about what they call a bubble, a artificial intelligence bubble. Some of them refer to the dot-com crisis in the past, the 2008 crisis as well. Are you worried?
I agree there are similarities between the dot-com bubble. I think there are also significant differences between the two situations. Is there a bubble? I mean, it's hard to say, but I mean, there are also alarming signs which show that there isn't a bubble. If we maybe think about what does an AI bubble mean? It's also when we compare the US and Europe, we have so many AI data centers in the US under management or under development, being built. If we look at Europe, it's very, very limited. So we see strong growth in terms of AI usage, but we don't see a strong growth in terms of AI construction and development. And this has multiple reasons. One of the reasons is the high energy prices for power in Europe. But there's also regulation, data security, and so on and so on. I think this is kind of an alarming sign that the market is maybe not as mature as everybody thinks. So therefore, it could be a bubble. I'm a little bit worried about what I see every time when it comes to valuations. But on the other hand side, we know that we have our proven business models like cloud and co-location and everything else. So it's not a bet on one asset class. We're trying to diversify. And this is also my suggestion or recommendation to investors. Don't put all your bags in one basket, split it into different data centers. That's probably a good idea.